Hello, everybody. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to another classic movie review. For this review, I'm talking about The Odd Couple, directed by Gene Saks, based on a play by Neil Simon, and stars Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau in the roles of Felix Unger and Oscar Madison. This is by far one of my favorite comedies of all time. Not just favorite comedies, one of my favorite films of all time. I think a lot of people can relate to the situations in this movie. A lot of the comedy comes out of very real situations and uh, the themes of divorce, of being alone, and friendship. A lot of things in here that sort of grab me, especially the friendship between the main two characters, played by Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. The first time I saw these two in a film was Grumpy Old Men back in the 90s. And then, of course, the very funny sequel, Grumpier Old Men. So I came across this movie as I got older, started watching more classic movies. And uh, as I as I was, sort of getting through this one for the first time, I came to realize that these two actors together, uh, Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, the two of them together are really comedy heaven. They're comedy gold for someone like me that appreciates um, laughing at things that are relatable. And myself, I was in a situation once, much like Felix Unger. I stayed at a cousin's house for a brief period when I was younger and was sort of starting out, working and just sort of building my life. And uh, this cousin of mine was very much the Oscar, and I was very much the Felix because he was like Oscar into sports, big smoker, likes to throw some back, and pretty much would leave his shit anywhere he felt like, as far as bottles and garbage and not the clean, he wasn't a total slob, but not the cleanest person either. So I found myself, picking up not just after myself, but after him as well. As a favor for him letting me stay there as well. So, but yeah, I very much felt like the Felix of the two. So I can very much relate to this situation, and it's a very slow build to a couple of nice blow-ups between these two characters. Their their scenes are very well written, and a lot of the dialogue feels well. The whole movie is based on a very well written play, and a lot of the dialogue uh, feels improvised, feels natural, doesn't feel like they're words on the page. Uh, I think it's just a great combination of brilliant writing and excellent execution by the actors. The actors themselves, Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, I've seen them in other films where they were allowed to be dramatic, so I know that they have different sides to them. And I've, of course, seen them in other comedies, but here in this movie has my favorite performance by both these men, and because of that, this movie is, as far as comedies go, as far as movies from the '60s go, period, in my opinion, this is a very iconic comedy film. And the beginning of the film, our main character gets kicked out of his house because his wife is gonna leave him, so she wants a divorce, and he's sort of wandering the streets of New York City. He gets himself a little room, but he doesn't stay there for long. He goes to like a bar, like a nightclub, girls dancing on the bar and stuff. He's like looking up at them, and um, you can tell that this guy is not in a good place. Especially by the time he ends up at Oscar's place. He's having suicidal thoughts and even takes a bottle of pills, and his friends find out and they throw him in the shower and soak him and everything. And his friends are really funny too. His friends, every now and then, they get together for like a poker night, and Felix can't help but being himself, just kind of has to overdo everything when it comes to keeping the apartment clean. And before he lived there, before he lives there, Oscar is very set in his ways and likes everything where it is, even the mess, even all the messy stuff. So whenever Felix, room, room, whenever Felix goes overboard with the cleaning, it really cramps Oscar's lifestyle to the point where there are some hilarious confrontations and blow-ups. It slowly builds. You can slowly see it getting to Oscar. Everything sort of piles on one after the other because more than just being a clean freak, he has all these other. Felix has all these other problems, these issues. He's um, just overbearing. He's always got some kind of problem with his back, or he has a problem trying to breathe sometimes. He has like uh, kind of spazzes out every now and then, has like panic attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, he is definitely um, the opposite of Oscar, which Oscar is into sports. He's a lot more laid back, but Oscar's a slob. So yeah, these two clash, and even though they clash, you can still feel the friendship underneath. There is sort of an unspoken bond that is there all throughout the film, even till the very end. And there's a great moment when Oscar to uh, needs to have some female company, so he invites a couple of females to the apartment, so they have like kind of like a double date, and it's a very very great scene, very very funny. That only adds to more tension between the two of them when the date doesn't pan out for Oscar the way he was hoping, and of course blames it on Felix and his problems, his shenanigans, because Felix has to have everything perfect, and when his dinner is burnt and doesn't turn out right, Oscar's like, screw it, we'll just eat out, or we'll have leftovers or whatever, and uh, he's always willing to make the best out of a situation. But Oscar Felix is such a wet blanket, of course, and such a mopey kind of guy because he's going through this emotional breakup. So he brings all that baggage everywhere. He even starts unloading all that stuff to the two dates, and of course they get all weepy and sad for him, and he completely ruins the evening for Oscar. And Oscar really needed some some female companionship that night. So yeah, he holds it against him for the next few days, and um, a lot of these things are very relatable. These are things that, um, to me, some of the best comedy, some of the most real comedy. Um, it just hits home for me when it's something that uh, I can just relate to, and a lot of these situations feel like they've been going on for a very long time. I mean, this came out in 1967, and a lot of this stuff is still very funny because people still, to this day, find themselves in these kind of very similar situations where they need to depend on a friend or they help out a friend. Everyone at one point or another has either helped somebody out or needed help. So the premise is very uh, strong, even for nowadays. Even though this is an old film, the comedy is it doesn't get old. It's so well written, and like I said, this is based on a Neil Simon play. So yeah, this holds up perfectly, even for 1967. Like I said, it's not just one of my favorite comedies; it's one of my favorite films. And there's a score that is very iconic. There was a TV show that was also funny, but for me, the film is just excellent. And And yeah, the score is kind of a tune that once you hear it, it's kind of hard to get out of your head. It's one of those kind of tunes. But I, I encourage anyone that is a fan of uh, Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, if you ever enjoyed them in movies like Grumpy Old Men, Grumpy Old Men, even Out to Sea, that I enjoyed to some extent. Um, these two were in quite a few movies together. Besides those, there was also The Fortune Cookie. That was another funny movie. And of course, they made a sequel to this movie. I don't know why. I think they should have just left it alone. Though I have to admit, curiosity got me watching the sequel. Though, um, if I'm going to watch The Odd Couple, I will always watch the original. The sequel came out years later in the 90s after they had made like Grumpy Old Men and Grumpy Old Men. So, I think they figured, these two are still around. Let's just have them make another Odd Couple movie. But they couldn't quite capture that magic, even though they were still very funny as older men. Um, yeah, this first movie just has a special feel about it, and is just one of those great comedy classics that I highly recommend to those that enjoy classic films and enjoy a good comedy. And yeah, Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, The Odd Couple, one of the great 60s films, in my humble opinion. Where is my copy? And so, like I'm always saying to everyone, these movies are available on streaming platforms for the most part. But every now and then they're hard to find. So, yep, they're out there. That's my hard copy. That's the Blu-ray. There is Felix and Oscar. And yeah, I love this movie. It's one of those movies that whenever I need to pick me up, I can throw this on and I laugh from beginning to end. Even though I've seen the movie over and over again, even though I know what's coming, it's funny every time. Just like when I watch like Dumb and Dumber, or when I watch uh, 1985's Clue or Young Frankenstein, movies that age like fine wine when it comes to comedy, because it doesn't matter how many times you've seen it. Great comedy is great comedy, and it has some pretty great performances as well for a comedy. So if you're into that kind of thing, please check out The Odd Couple. It is comedy gold, in my humble opinion. So that does it for The Odd Couple review. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Please be on the lookout for more classic film reviews. And yeah, till next time. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and please share, comment, like. If you want to comment anything in the comment section, please let me know what are some of your favorite comedy classics, or any comedy. It doesn't have to be a classic. It could be a modern comedy. So thank you very much once again, and everyone, please have a safe and pleasant day or night, and God bless and take care. Bye-bye.